More law firms are now joining the legal battle against former Fort Hood OBGYN Major Blaine McGraw. Sanford Heisler Sharp McKnight filed 7 Federal Tort Claims Act administrative complaints against the U.S. Department of the Army, the DoD, and others on behalf of Jane Doe's. The complaints allege the Army was negligent and lacked protocols to keep patients safe. A new Texas law is now relevant to the suspended Fort Hood OBGYN case. 6 News reporter Juliana Jackson sat down with the author of the invasive recording bill. Juliana?
Lindsay, before State Representative Hillary Hicklin's House Bill 1465 was put into law, invasive visual recording was already classified as a sexual crime in Texas, but offenders weren't required to be on the sex offender registry. Now, anyone convicted of invasive visual recording must register as a sex offender for life. The law now directly applies to the case of former Fort Hood OBGYN Major Blaine McGraw. The Army filed 64 charges against McGraw. The alleged offenses happened during medical examinations with female patients, and one victim who was not a patient who was allegedly secretly video recorded at a private residence near Fort Hood. 44 more victims are involved in the military case, with more law firms joining this case.
We will be protecting victims and also future victims by requiring offenders to be listed on that registry. This will help in whether the offender moves or changes, because this will be for life that they are on that registry.
The law expands the definition of places where people have a reasonable expectation of privacy, including medical settings where patients disrobe for examinations. She says she's willing to explore additional protections, including potential chaperone requirements in medical settings. Coming up at 6, we'll hear more from Hicklin on her bill and how it's helping victims of invasive recording across our state.